Welcome to Survivor Scale. I'm H2 Mass, and today I'm ranking every main character in The Collector, where a thief tries to steal from his employer but ends up caught in a labyrinth of deadly traps and a series of victims that do everything they can to slow him down. We start the film with a couple returning home as they prepare to get freaky. Unfortunately though, they quickly reach the limit of their freakiness when they discover that a mysterious red box has been placed inside their house and decide not to advance to any sort of bondage activities. But Roddy Ricch has other plans. The box then shakes from inside, and though Gina tells him not to, Larry decides to open it anyway, only for an unseen figure to show him how to limit the spread of germs. Sometime later, we meet construction worker Arkin O'Brien working construction. Just before his work can finish constructing though, his employer's daughter Hannah invites him to a tea party, allowing Arkin to hint at his nearly unparalleled resourcefulness when he asks her what kind of toy she'd want so he can use the information she gives to buy something for his own daughter later. At night, Arkin goes to a bowling alley and gives his daughter the gift Hannah suggested, resulting in a 100% satisfaction review. Sadly though, his baby mama has borrowed from a loan shark and needs Arkin to give her a huge sum of money by midnight or the shark will prove that they can kill on land as well. Burdened by his selflessness, Arkin establishes his main objective, to steal a valuable jewel from Hannah's family so that he can sell it to save both his daughter and his baby mama. Arkin then meets with his crime boss Roy to set up a deal to do the burglary tonight, even though his boss wants to keep things to the slower schedule that they've already agreed to. Showing some resolve, Arkin holds firm to his position despite his boss burning his hand with a lighter. Arkin then demonstrates his negotiation skills when he realizes his leverage and then convinces Roy to let him take on the mission tonight. When he gets back to his employer's house, Arkin notices a new post in the ground and shows off his reflexes when he barely dodges the dog chained up to it. And this was the easy part. Things are only gonna get worse for Arkin. After reaching the door, Arkin unleashes his lockpicking skills and sneaks into the house. He then finds a big mirror and lifts it up to reveal a secret safe, after which he pulls out his special equipment and begins cracking the code. Before he can finish though, he hears a noise from downstairs and stops decrypting the safe to listen. He then hears the floorboards creak and immediately puts the mirror back to its original position. As a dark figure approaches, Arkin shows off his stealth and expertly sneaks around him. However, when he tries to leave the house from the same door that he entered through, he realizes that he's now facing off against the magical creature with the ability to place several locks on the doors in mere moments. Arkin then attempts to leave out of the front door, but remembers the consequences of failing the mission and goes back to the mirror to try to steal the jewel again. Before he can even get his equipment out though, he hears screaming from another room and tries to hide in a closet. Suddenly though, the owner of the house and Hannah's father Michael crashes into the room next to him. Confusing Arkin for the mysterious figure, Michael shows some resourcefulness and grabs a golf club to attack him, but ends up setting off a trap that ensnares his foot and pulls him 20 feet into the air before then dropping him onto the floor. As the Collector drags Michael away, Arkin shows his self-preservation and decides it's time to get the hell out, but when he tries to open a window, he finds it barricaded with wooden planks. He then picks up a phone, only for his ear to get some acupuncture. When he tries to break through the window, a blade suddenly drops, forcing him to further demonstrate his resolve as he rips his hand away coated in blood. Arkin then goes back downstairs and again displays his awareness when he evades a tripwire that has suddenly appeared in the hallway. As he continues through the house, he encounters a web of razor wires barely visible under the light, but somehow manages to not overreact and stops as soon as one makes contact with his skin. How did this dude set up all these traps so quickly? Didn't he get here this night? After backing away from the wires, he stumbles across a field of bear traps and then notices another tripwire connected to a large blade before stepping over it and preparing to head back up the stairs, only to find them covered in nails. How in the world? Arkin then goes into the creepy, dark-ass basement, giving Michael the opportunity to jump scare him. After calming down a bit, and fortunately not giving much thought as to why Arkin is at his house so late at night, Michael tells Arkin that he has a gun in the safe behind the mirror, making Arkin's job much easier by revealing the combination to the safe that he was trying to break into. Arkin then walks a few feet over and finds Michael's wife Victoria chained to a bathtub with duct tape stapled over her eyes. Victoria then tells Arkin to find Hannah, who somehow stayed hidden from the Collector this whole time. Arkin though needs to get back upstairs undetected, so he tells Victoria to scream to draw the Collector into the basement, hopefully keeping his attention away from Arkin. Though she doesn't want to do it, her scream does draw the Collector downstairs, so Arkin sneaks upstairs and searches for Hannah, but gives up when he can't seem to find her. Arkin then opens the safe and grabs the gun, making sure to also take the family gem as a little treat. Unfortunately though, Arkin's luck soon runs out when he tries to put some bullets into the gun, only to find the package completely empty. Couldn't make things too easy now, could we? As Arkin continues walking around, he finds a mysterious red box that jump scares him to reveal Larry now experiencing the other side of the prank. Larry then gives Arkin a bit of background on the Collector.
He only kills people that he doesn't want. The rest he takes.
Michael then starts screaming from the basement, so Arkin jams Larry back into the box and walks into another room as he looks for a way to escape. Unfortunately though, he doesn't notice that the floor has been covered in some sticky yellow acidic substance and he gets stuck, knocking some books over in the process. Hearing the noise, the Collector starts walking back upstairs, activating clutch time. Arkin, however, shows great ingenuity as he unties his shoes and then uses the books to step across the floor and hop onto the bed. He then grabs the family cat that had gotten stuck in the goo and throws it to the window, but a trap activates and cuts the cat in half. Damn. Showing more ingenuity, Arkin covers his shoes with magazines and hides under the covers as the Collector walks in and inspects the scene, now blaming the cat for the noise he heard earlier. Man, Arkin still hasn't gotten caught. He's really like that. Resourcefully, Arkin grabs a hairpin and then goes back into the basement to free Victoria from the handcuffs locking her to the bathtub. Before he reaches her though, he discovers that Michael has been disemboweled, but demonstrates his emotional awareness by telling Victoria that he's fine when she asks about him so she doesn't overreact to the death of her husband. After Arkin's lockpicking skills release Victoria, the two of them start heading out of the basement, but Victoria sees Michael's dead body and overreacts, running away from Arkin and up the stairs, only for the Collector to stab her in the stomach and knock her back downstairs as Arkin hides under a desk. As the Collector ties Victoria back to the bathtub, Arkin sneaks back upstairs and tries to escape through the window, but unfortunately can't break through the wooden planks. He then sees Hannah's older sister Jill arrive at the house with her boyfriend Chad, but when he tries to warn them not to come inside, they don't seem to hear or see him. Though Jill and Chad find the front door locked, the Collector unlocks the 5 back door locks from inside the house while keeping himself hidden and leaving the couple unsuspicious of any malevolent activity. Since they don't realize the danger, they walk inside completely unprepared and start doing the dirty in what they think is an empty house, but instead has a man creeping in the corner watching them cream. Showing a bit of observational skills, Jill notices the Collector and stops getting breast inspected by her boyfriend. With the Collector's entertainment now ruined, he gets up and starts walking towards them. Failing to live up to his name, Chad tries to fight him but gets stabbed in the hand, caught in a trap, and then kicked into the field of bear traps that quickly kill him. The Collector then throws Jill around the room and presses her against the wall, revealing her solid awareness to try to call the cops in this moment of need, but also her poor composure since she didn't do it while her boyfriend was fighting the Collector. Better late than never. Meanwhile, Arkin enacts an incredible plan to save Jill, who has been tied to a staircase by the Collector. First, Arkin finally manages to break the planks and blades on the window. Then he makes an alarm ring to draw the Collector away from Jill. And finally, he goes back downstairs to release Jill and hopefully escape through the window. Arkin is already a top 5 character I've covered. No debate. Jill, however, thinks Arkin is the Collector and keeps backing away from him before showing some resourcefulness and grabbing a pair of scissors to defend herself. Unfortunately though, the scissors activate a trap that drags her through the air and throws her into some nails on the wall, killing her. Arkin then evades the Collector once again and tries to remove Larry from the red box, but realizes that his feet are locked inside, so he ruthlessly gives up on him and breaks through the window that he prepared, finally escaping the horrifying house. This man really got in, talked to and almost saved all of the victims without being seen by the Collector even once. This man really might be the greatest of all time. Right after leaving the house though, he sees Hannah banging on the window for help, just as the Collector gets up and looks for her. His selflessness knowing no bounds, Arkin climbs back into the window and tries to reach Hannah before the Collector can. As Hannah's lucky ass somehow avoids the countless traps in the house, the Collector closes in on her, but just before reaching her, Arkin arrives and knocks the Collector to the floor. He then grabs Hannah and the two of them run into a room and lock the door, keeping the Collector out and giving Arkin the opportunity to further demonstrate his ingenuity. Hinting at his plan, he tells Hannah to stay off the floor, and a few moments later, as soon as the door opens, Arkin throws a fish tank onto the floor and Hannah pushes a TV onto the water, hopefully electrifying whoever walks in. Unfortunately though, the Collector is no ordinary villain and anticipated some trickery, so he throws Larry onto the floor and stays away from the water as the electrical current fades away. It was still a good plan. The Collector then throws a knife, but Arkin reveals his reflexes and dodges it, so the Collector throws 2 more knives, but Arkin dodges those as well, grabs Hannah, and then runs out of the room. Y'all thought I was joking about this guy. He's like that. Hannah then slides down the laundry chute and goes into the basement, but just before Arkin can follow her, the Collector's crazy ass uses Larry's head to break into the room, and the two criminals start fighting. During their scuffle though, Arkin tears off the Collector's mask and sees his face, unfortunately giving the Collector enough adrenaline to knock Arkin unconscious. Arkin then wakes up in a basement with a bunch of hooks stuck in his hands and back, allowing the Collector to easily take a hammer and chisel to knock out one of Arkin's teeth. The Collector then starts walking around the room, but in an effort to keep him from finding Hannah, he insults the Collector like teenagers in a 2012 Call of Duty lobby.
You little fucking bitch!
The Collector then slices open Arkin's stomach, holds a jar of roaches next to the wound, and lights a fire to make the roaches crawl into Arkin. Fortunately for Arkin though, a cop car finally arrives outside the house after Jill's phone call, and the Collector stops hurting Arkin to fight the policeman. When the Collector walks outside, the officer tells him to drop his knife, but sadly shows unimpressive awareness when the Collector's dog catches him off guard. The Collector though stops the dog before he can kill the man because he wants the experience for himself, so he walks to the officer and breaks his neck. So the dog did all the work, but the Collector still got the kill. Sounds like me in first-person shooters. Meanwhile, Arkin shows some more resolve and rips himself out of the traps, then uses one of the hooks to unlock the cuffs around his legs. Look man, Arkin is just different. He would dominate a Saw film. After escaping, Arkin finds Victoria dead before looking around the room and showing his deductive ability when he realizes that the Collector plans to blow up the house. The Collector though grabs a shotgun from the cop car and then sends his dog into the basement to push Arkin and Hannah towards himself. Arkin, however, knows to avoid the Collector, so he ties some cloth around Hannah, climbs up the laundry chute, and then pulls Hannah up before the dog can get to her. Arkin might get me pregnant. Still not satisfied with his performance, he continues with his ingenuity and adaptive thinking when he recognizes that the dog is still after them, so he ignites some toilet paper in a trash can and opens the door as soon as the dog approaches, throws the fire into the dog's face, and then slams the door on its body. Now needing to face the Collector, Arkin throws the dog's body into the air, distracting the Collector and allowing Arkin to knock the shotgun away. When the Collector tries to stab him, Arkin blocks him with the oven door. He then shows his melee skills when he kicks the Collector down the staircase and then locks him in the basement. During their fight, the Collector's keys had fallen to the floor, so Arkin now grabs them and he and Hannah run to the front door. Unfortunately though, the key is broken and the Collector has found the shotgun and blown open the basement door, now coming after them. The Collector then arrives at the front door and sees Arkin and Hannah before pulling the trigger, only to reveal Arkin's most impressive feat of the film, where he placed the mirror in front of the door to make the Collector think that they were there and then have him shoot and break the locks on the door so that they can escape. He just keeps getting better. Arkin then activates a trap that the Collector was standing underneath, impaling him with knives and giving Arkin and Hannah a chance to escape. As the pair run to the road, they see a squad of police cars arriving and Arkin jumps in front to get them to stop, but one of them hits him. Fortunately though, he survives and they place him into an ambulance. As they drive him away, he pulls the gem out of his pocket and thinks he's completed the mission, but the ambulance suddenly flips over and the Collector bursts in, kills the EMT, and throws Arkin into another red box. The next piece in his collection. Damn. Tomner. I always knew that Arkin was an above average horror protagonist, but I had no idea it was this far above average. At nearly every turn, Arkin found himself in a dangerous position, constantly forced to solve a new problem, and time after time, he did just that. Whenever I thought about a weakness he may have, such as his potentially weak melee, he simply proved that I should never question him. He showed basically everything he could have, from ingenuity and awareness to dexterity and resolve, and even expert lockpicking skills, with the only real uncertainty being his openness to the supernatural, and that's only because this isn't a supernatural film. Though, maybe he should have brought a cell phone. With all that said, I have no choice but to put the supreme sleuth with standout skills in S tier. But that's it. The average rank of this cast was A tier. A pretty good collection of characters, carried by Arkin. The Collector may not have a complex plot or deep philosophical themes, but it still manages to be an enjoyable little horror movie that I think about whenever I answer a landline. Thanks for watching.